I just see us four.
No, I'm. No, it's only showing the upload. It's not showing the. It's not showing anything else. Yes. It's not showing.
And we're here, the first ever virtual virtual CFF live draft. A couple technical difficulties. We're a couple minutes late, but no fear. We are up and rolling, and hopefully we're coming in clear as can be through your TV and speakers. Bill, are we still off and running? We're still good? Okay, we're rolling. Unlike the Super Smash Bros. Draft where we thought we were rolling and we apparently weren't, this time we are. And it feels great. I'm joined with, of course, as always, Mr. Drew Boone, my co-host, and Mr. Eric Serrani, the commissioner. How are you guys tonight?
Poke, it is an absolute blessing to be here. It's disappointing not having the in-person draft, but I'm hopeful that this is an innovation that people will enjoy.
Yeah, I think so too. I think it's going to be a new way to mix up a Tuesday, especially during these unprecedented times. So, Mr. Serrani, do you have any thing you'd like to kick us off with?
Right. So I'm just going to do a quick rundown of the rules. So everyone, including owner Wallace, who has been on the clock for the last couple of weeks, will text Bill who they are picking. I will do a live announcement, and then we'll have some in-depth analysis from owner Hoke and owner Boone. And yeah, that's kind of how the thing is going to go. We'll only do the first 3 rounds tonight, and then we'll pick it back up this weekend. I know the expectations for me are really low, but holy fuck, let's get started, okay?
Absolutely. And I'm seeing here that there is a horrible echo. Chad Wallace, no echo from me. Lyle, fix it. Okay, so we're good. We're off and rolling. Sounds like the production is high. For those of you watching at home, if you have any issues, please send it in the group text, and our producer will do his best to get things fixed and rocking and rolling. So with that, Chad Wallace.
No promises on the technical difficulties. And is it any surprise that Jackson Lyle's the one bitching about the echo? Could this guy have complained any more today?
He has been ridiculous. He's been complaint after complaint. He's like a little drama queen.
He's been doing his best. That screenshot was kind of funny. That did pretty much perfectly say what he had been claiming you said.
Okay. I'm pretty sure we could scroll after that and see like 15 other messages that I sent about different draft dates. All right. 14, 26-year-olds, 27-year-olds trying to line up schedules. It's tough, guys, okay?
It is. And I think, if we were to do a 14-round draft tonight, all of us would it'd be a shit show. Not that I was going to probably do much more research between now and Sunday or whatever, but, you just have to mentally prepare, get your mind right, as Drew talked about in the hype video. It's a process.
And let's also acknowledge that we have Bill producing the show. He's on the ones and twos, making sure this thing half looks decent. Serrani's here gathering all the picks. He's getting texts from you guys. Me and Hoke are trying to provide instant analysis. You don't want to hear our instant analysis on Ito Smith. And like I told Hoke earlier in the day, they didn't expect Mike Mayock to keep his job at the NFL Network and keep providing analysis on the NFL draft while he's the GM of the Raiders. Exactly. We're pulling double duty.
Yeah, maybe one of the worst suggestions I've heard all summer from Lyle. Let's just crank out 14 rounds on this live draft tonight.
Right. Yeah, that's not feasible. I think the 3 rounds is perfect because I start fading pretty quickly once we go a little bit past 3. And there's name recognition with each and every one of those first 42 picks we're doing.
Feel free to cut in. Bill, feel free to cut in if someone has texted a pick, okay? Oh, everyone text Bill your picks.
Everyone text Bill your picks. And Chad's on the clock. Chad, you're on the clock. I know that it looked like your cat was picking for you, which respect that move. Cats are smart. I don't like cats, but they they're weirdly smart. So good move there.
I kind of want to see how his cat would fare in the league. Like, if he could just like have the cat pick a weekly lineup for him, like what place is he ending?
That kind of would be fun to just see. It's kind of like the walrus or whatever that picks that the Orange Bowl or whatever and gets it right. More than esteemed gamblers.
Yeah, that octopus that does like the World Cup.
Right.
Like
Yeah.
Eric Johnston had a great suggestion, guys, and I'm disappointed we didn't. Johnston, we love this suggestion. We're disappointed that our producer doesn't have the capabilities in splicing in other YouTube videos into this current YouTube stream. And I don't think you want to hear myself or Steven sing it. I was on the no-sing list and you sing freshman year, so just for one song. But I don't want to butcher our national anthem.
Yeah, if we would have thought of that. Is
he honestly still thinking about this?
Are we sure Chad is in the call? Are we sure he is watching?
That's a good point.
By my account, it looks like 9 are watching the stream. I guess that means Jensen and Walker are together. T.O. and DeRuiter are together. So that means we're really at 11. And then us 3 or 4. So, yeah, that's about right. Everybody should be in. What? Riley, actually, I think I sent her the link. I don't think she's still watching. I think she gave up.
I did text the link to my brother. He's a big consumer of CFF content.
Who would have thought just a few years ago when we were starting our makeshift CFF live productions in the Monet apartments that we would be sitting here later broadcasting live too? I mean, literally anybody in the universe can access this right now. It's amazing where technology's come. Connor wants to know if Broussard is watching again. I don't know if he is. I may have to text him the link though, just to get another league involved. Their league's pretty active, and okay. And Chad has officially spoiled the surprise for what the first pick was going to be. Serrani, I believe your duty is up.
And with the first pick of the 2020 CFF Virtual Live Draft, Owner Wallace selects Christian McCaffrey, running back, Carolina Panthers. Owner Busby is now on the clock.
Now, Hoke, is there any surprise here? I think this is what we all had penciled in as pick 101. A safe pick, perhaps, but there are some questions about this Carolina offense. New head coach, new quarterback, a lot of change of sceneries there in the Queen City.
You're absolutely right, and I actually think that's going to make CMAC even more valuable. Matt Rule, this is a guy that has risen through the ranks, was at Temple just a few short years ago. Now he finds himself running an NFL offense. I think that he finds success wherever he goes. He will make that work. He's got Teddy Bridgewater riding shotgun, and I like what they're doing there. CMAC has done it with just a laundry list of no names. Bill, production in my ear. Sorry. Just a laundry list of kind of no names. Who was last year that he was at Kyle Allen. I mean, and he put up those types of numbers. So you have to like the trend that McCaffrey's following.
I do have a question here about Matt Rule. Will the sweatshirt make its way to the NFL? And will this become a trademark that Nike continues to have to make something so hideous that we all have to watch on Sundays now?
That's a great question. Oh, I'm sorry. The pick is in. The pick is in.
And with the second pick in the 2020 CFF Virtual Live Draft, Owner Busby selects running back Saquon Barkley, New York Giants.
Saquon Barkley, we're going chalk right now. CMAC to Saquon. Drew, was there, say you're Chad, are you thinking maybe Saquon though? I know we like the trajectory that CMAC's on, but Saquon's not a bad steal at number 2 there.
I think a lot of these guys, both Saquon and Christian McCaffrey, have a lot of similarities here. New coach, new offense, young quarterback. Could this be a trend where these teams are going to have to lean more on their running game while Daniel Jones comes along, while Teddy Bridgewater is still a somewhat unknown quantity coming off the knee injury? So I think these are both high-value picks, albeit first and second overall.
So I have to comment here on Graham. You guys have pegged him as kind of the forgotten star that you think is going to take the league by storm again this year, and I could absolutely see that happening. What I was laughing at was his hype video, or his whatever B-roll footage. I was laughing because I saw when he turned the camera around, I was like, oh my gosh, he's like got a really legit draft board there. Like he's got his shit together. And then he said it was his work schedule. So he's on the level playing field with all of us. I think all of us are in that boat, save for Jensen. I feel like Jensen's kind of done some work on this. He seemed to indicate as much in his videos, but But yeah, I like where Graham's at. Graham's at right now, and he's starting solid with Saquon as a solid base coat. And it sounds like we have the next pick, Eric Jensen. The pick is in. Fuck.
All right, with the third pick, owner Jensen selects running back, Dallas Cowboys, Ezekiel Elliott.
And with that, I pick at 4, and now I'm kind of fucked because I was planning on picking Zeke. That's tough. I'm going to take you guys through my thought process here because I kind of a peek inside the mind of a former champion and a runner-up last year. So McCaffrey's gone, Barkley's gone, Elliott's gone. Kamara is there, and he's intriguing, but he's in this holdout situation. I think the Saints are going for it this year. He's a little bit, I feel like a bit of an injury concern. I hate Dalvin Cook. Do not like Dalvin Cook there.
You're welcome.
Part of me wants to pick Clyde Edwards-Helaire
Really?
because Bill's going to pick him. This sucks. Yeah, give me a second.
Yeah.
I get that. I'm going to go on mute, and I'll tell you who it is.
A lot of options. That's the benefit of it being the fourth pick in the draft. Just there's a lot of players on the board.
Yeah. You know what? Okay, I think I know what I'm going to do. And I'm going to text Bill right now. Oh, wow. I can't believe I'm doing this. Call this. Oh, I don't like this, but I'm going to do it.
I hope everyone can see that the Google Doc is updated.
The pick is in.
And with the fourth pick in the CFF 2020 Virtual Live Draft, our very own co-anchor on Chalk Talk, Owner Hoke, selects Derrick Henry, running back, Tennessee.
All right, Steven, guys. A fascinating look inside the war room. Take us through what some of the final what really tilted your decision in the way of Derrick Henry.
Yeah. So what my thoughts were, I had a couple games against Kamara last year, and he was great in a few, but there were some where he would disappear for, and he would get 7 points. And kind of with the contract questions, I feel like he's kind of had a bit of an injury. He's had a bit of an injury history lately. Derrick Henry is just a workhorse. He's a workhorse. He's a solid, back that you're gonna get your 20 from, and there's gonna be games where he busts it open and gets you 35. And I like where he finished last season. It seems like the Titans kind of have found something. And yeah, I don't see anybody really taking carries away from him. That Saints offense, you don't know what you're going to get game to game. I just think that he's a solid guy that you're not going to be pissed about taking.
How does, and this maybe goes for the other first three picks, how affecting the rest of your draft? Are you focused now on making sure you get a handcuff early, or is there a value handcuff pick in Tennessee? Is this something that you've started to consider, especially as you and your front office move into the weekend?
Yes. So I don't know really who his handcuff is, to be completely honest with you. I've never really been worried about handcuffs. I kind of like to, personally, I like to steal handcuffs from other people. A guy, now this is actually too much insider information, but a guy I love to snipe on the handcuffs is Jackson Stone, because he will overpay you for a handcuff late in the season when things start to look a little rocky. So, if he picks Let's see. Say for instance, if he picks Dalvin Cook, I'm going for Dalvin Cook overpay for Jerick McKinnon. Is he still in Minnesota? I have no idea, but just for sake of example. But I'm not a big handcuff guy.
Yeah, I was going to say, I love on the live drafts when you get to around like 13, 14, and you just hawk Stone's back up and he just stares at you. You know what I'm saying? Like while you're like putting the name on the board, he just does that. Like he just stares at you, do it. And then he'll come up and like whisper to you or something and then tries to steal your handcuff back. And you're like, I wasn't going for that guy.
Oh, I remember the year I think he picked Zeke and I don't know. I tried to grab Darren McFadden or something. I've done it a few times. It's really kind of for entertainment value more than anything. And you may squeeze some value out of it later in the year. But Drew, to answer your question, I think that I've heard that this is a deeper running back class this year, at least according to Bill. So that makes me think I've got a target wide receiver at pick 25.
A lot of time in between the picks there. And if you're looking at most draft boards, what's going to be left at pick 25 in the running back room? You're looking at guys kind of in that Cam Akers, young guy out of the Rams. There's your maybe sexy Hard Knocks pick. No, I'm not at pick 25, but you're kind of in that maybe top 20, top 15 running back left.
Yeah, so my thoughts are I can't have Austin Eckler as my RB1 and expect to maybe compete for a title. I just can't do that. And, I can maybe get by with A.J. Brown as my wide receiver 1. But I can't get by with because I thought about Michael Thomas. I really did. Caldwell is on the clock, just to reiterate. I thought about Michael Thomas. Really did. He killed me last year. In fact, I think Chad traded him to T.O. and then Thomas, both Thomases, Michael and T.O., beat me in the championship. And so he's kind of one of those guys I had my eye on, but at the end of the day, you got to go with your horse, And it sounds to me like Caldwell was interested in Derrick Henry.
Well, I think that's a given, considering how last year.
After what he did for him last year.
Yeah. Quite literally the namesake of his team gone before he even gets back around in the order this year. Maybe a critical blow to the morale of that franchise.
It may be, and it's a tough one to recover from, and that may be why he's taking forever on the pick. He may just be unaware it's his pick. But I think he is because he texted no in the group text. So he knows what's going on, but I would hate to be him in this situation because he's looking at Kamara, who makes sense at 5. But he's also like, do I dip down for, do I go for Dalvin? Do I, maybe reach a little bit for Michael Thomas? Do I think about Clyde Edwards-Helaire and snipe Bill's guy? What do I do in the situation? And it's one I don't envy.
Caldwell's franchise has never been any good, but it certainly has had significant dips following the loss of Stephen Gostkowski and perhaps following the loss of Derrick Henry. And he better pick soon because we're really running out of things to talk about with Caldwell's franchise. There's just not a whole lot to talk about. So I
was about to say Caldwell is a low-key takes a while to pick.
We're going on for 4 minutes right now.
He's kind of had that reputation, I feel like, for a couple of years. I feel like a lot of times he's kind of on the snake around, and he's just, I don't know. We're kind of running out of things to analyze here. We've run the gamut on Derrick Henry. Chad did.
Do you think there's some? We've always considered Caldwell a bit of a mental midget when it comes to fantasy, but do you think it affects him even more so, knowing that you're picking directly in front of him?
Does this bring
shockwaves and scar tissue related to the Dan Bailey game.
Yeah, I can confirm that he absolutely does not like being sandwiched between me and Bill. Kind of going to be in his kitchen all night, just going back and forth. But yeah, I know that he has a problem with that, and it looks like he's on the phone with Bill, possibly sending in a pic, unless Bill is talking to somebody else. All we can do is hope that.
So here's a peek behind the curtain, and this is going to bring up a little bit of information I was going to mention. Caldwell's known to sit next to Bill at the live draft. He likes to use Bill's cheat sheets and information. And right now, Caldwell is literally on the phone with our producer, who is muted, asking who he should pick.
And mind you that Bill picks after him. So what's his motivation to give good advice? It's a wild move by Caldwell. I'm not sure I endorse it. Bill's literally giving advice as we speak to Chris. So I know Bill doesn't like Dalvin. Let's do predictions here. I know Bill doesn't like Dalvin Cook. I know he's not high on Kamara, but I think he's going to say you got to go Kamara, or I think he's going Kamara or Thomas.
Well, so Cook is in a possible holdout situation. Kamara is possibly getting Cook's in a contract holdout situation. Kamara is possibly getting traded. Does that push it to Michael Thomas, a PPR machine?
I think he goes Thomas. I think he has Thomas. Caldwell has called in the pick, so Bill is announcing it to Cerrone here shortly, and you'll get live reaction from Drew and I as the pick is announced. The pick is in.
All right. Well, with the 5th pick in this year's draft, we are deviating from the RB train, and owner Caldwell is going Michael Thomas, wide receiver, New Orleans Saints.
Wow. Okay. And kind of as we thought, we talked through it. Caldwell may have listened to our advice there that Kamara and Cook just may be too. Okay. Never mind. He said that Bill, our producer, said that he made the pick for Caldwell, and Caldwell did not listen to Boone and I. So Bill liked Thomas there.
And maybe Bill was listening to us talk about
and Bill
the concerns with those two running backs.
Yes, Bill was subconsciously that was carrying over into Bill's decision, and now.
And so what pick? You're exactly right.
Is open.
He may have just
Bill.
Yeah. Now, what pick does Caldwell have coming back? You want to do some math for me?
So he'll have 24 because I've got 25.
So what running back is going to be available for Caldwell on this wraparound?
And that's what we're talking about. That's kind of what I was talking about. Is Austin Eckler, are you happy with him as your RB1? I mean, I don't know.
Yeah.
Bill's pick is in.
Yeah, I see it.
I knew it. I've been calling this.
All right. With the 6th pick in the draft, Bill, as Hope's been saying all draft, has locked in Clyde Edwards-Helaire, running back, Kansas City Chiefs.
And we knew it. He tried to downplay it. I said, hey, I'm thinking about picking Clyde Edwards-Helaire at 4. And Bill was like, oh, are you kidding me?
Getting beer.
And, okay, Bill was not going to take him before Derrick Henry. That makes me feel better. I love the Clyde Edwards-Helaire pick. You have to find your guy, and don't care if you think it's 2 picks early.
Sure. Well, another peek behind the production curtain here. After our return to podcasting, so to speak, I had a long conversation with Bill talking about where I thought things might fall for me later in the first round. And I said I might be squarely in this Clyde Edwards-Helaire predicament.
I remember you mentioning that. Yeah.
And Bill said very flatly to me, he's not going to be there when he gets to you. And you could tell with the twinkle in Bill's eye, or at least the inflection in his voice, this is a pick he's been eyeing for quite literally 6 weeks.
Yeah, and Bill's known to do this most years. He, I remember it distinctly a few years ago when he went after Gronk a little bit early. And then I remember it a few years later when he went after Travis Kelce very early. Some thought maybe 12 to 14 picks too early. But, I get the thought process, because if it's a guy you want and you know that he's not going to be there your next time around, you just say, yeah, his average draft position may be um, uh, lower than this, but
No, I'm not. I'm
I
not
think
implying
now.
that. I'm not implying that Bill has reached for Edward Solaire.
Oh, I don't
but
think he's
he's
reached.
certainly identified the guy that he wanted, and he's been looking at him for a long time.
I don't.
This
I
front
don't think
office,
he's reached. I'm
this front
just
office saw in the Peach Bowl. Bill got a good look, and the guy was gritty and tough and fought through a tough ankle injury, and thankfully they didn't. LSU didn't need him because the Sooners have talented secondary players like Justin Broyles. Very fortunate for Joe Burrow and Clyde Edwards-Helaire.
My thoughts are not so much on the reach. It's more that you don't see Clyde Edwards-Helaire at an ADP of 6 in many drafts. Okay, Serrani's got his pick.
All right, with the 7th pick in the draft, I'm picking Kamara Nola, running back.
No, Serrani picks this year's free fall, Alvin Kamara. Serrani, what was going through your head there?
So this is, I was hoping that Clyde Edwards-Helaire fell to me, and to be honest, I was gonna trade my 7th overall pick back to DeRuiter. He had offered me a conditional. If Clyde Edwards-Helaire was there, we're gonna flop 1st-round picks, flop 2nd-round picks, flop 4th-round picks. Bill spoiled that per usual, because I'm sure Matt texted him first and asked for that trade. So when he wasn't there, my thought process was, Kamar's in this holdout scenario at camp, very similar like Gordon's been in the past, Bell's been in the past. But I just think he's a better talent than like their stud running back. I mean, he's due like $2 million this year. Like they're going to restructure that. It gave me a little more promise that Mixon got his deal done today, which will be big because I think Stone's heavy on Mixon in this draft, and he was happy that that deal was signed today, that extension. So my thought was, Kamar is obviously the best available player. Might as well just pull the trigger.
Yeah, no, I think that definitely checks out. I'm curious, what would you have done at in my position at 4? Because you're staring at Kamara, who's a nice player. You've got the Michael Thomas angle, you've got Derrick Henry, and I did think about CEH, but went Henry.
Yeah, I think at 4 you're walking into 200 total touches, at least 250 total touches with Henry. He's a safe play there. It's guaranteed volume. So I don't think it's a bad pick. I was probably going to say at 4, I was probably between like a Henry Michael Thomas thing, but I think you did fine with Henry for sure.
Sounds like the next pick is in.
But with the 8th pick in the draft, owner Walker selects another running back. These guys are just flying off the board. Dalvin Cook, Minnesota Vikings.
There sure is a run on running backs, and the Kamara Cook. I was interested to see where both those went, and I think you guys have both gotten good value there. Cook, I loved him last year. I had him the year before that, and he was atrocious. And I think he maybe blew out a knee or something. But when you have an injury or you have a player that doesn't live up to expectations, you kind of hold it against them. But Cook, he's a guy you don't want to face, and he's a guy that can go off.
Yeah, absolutely. We're 8 picks in. We've seen 7 running backs come off the board. How does this affect those later in this round? And how does it affect those, especially Caldwell, who's already picked the wide receiver? Will there be enough running backs for the rest of us?
No,
there's been a run.
That's what you like to see when you have taken that running back. You love to see a run on the position afterwards, because that means, those receivers are still going to be there. I mean, maybe water will start to find its level, and receivers will start to get picked. You got to go with best available at some point. But when you see this run, it does make you wonder, who's going to be there. And I'm looking at a big board here. Miles Sanders, ninth-ranked running back. I barely remember that name from last year. And Bill just informed me Miles Sanders was his next pick if Henry and Allaire were gone. So shows you what I know. I just don't. I remember him at Philly. I just don't remember him dominating.
And there's word out of Eagles camp. There's a few injuries along that offensive line.
Yeah, another thing to think about, and it sounds like
okay. Me and Christian have been betting on these NBA bubble games like it's our job. So.
The pick is in. We're just waiting for announcement. Jackson Stone.
All right. Owner Stone coming in hot. What's he? Is he 9? Is he 10? I think he's sitting at 9. With the 9th pick in the draft, Owner Stone has jumped on the Las Vegas Raiders bandwagon and picked Josh Jacobs. Let's go. Running back.
Josh Jacobs.
Let's go.
Off pride of Tulsa, Oklahoma.
And we had heard rumors that Stone was high on Mixon, who is sitting there with his new deal. Some have him as a top 7 or 8 player, and he goes Jacobs. I like Jacobs. Hopefully he doesn't have the sophomore slump. Had him on my team last year, loved him. He was a little bit – he had a tough time finding the red zone, but I think he's a nice player, and yeah, pride of Tulsa.
Yeah, pride of Tulsa. What an incredible story. I do think it's unfair every time people criticize the University of Oklahoma for not pursuing him sooner. Did offer him before Alabama, and that's something people forget about. And I just every time I see the guy run, I don't even see the highlights of him running past the Cash Hall Blue Swarm defense on the NFL Network. I don't see that. I see Robert Barnes being left in a lifeless heap on Pro Player Stadium down there in Miami. And it was really at that moment that I knew while I was at that Orange Bowl game that any chance of a comeback was probably left lying there on the floor with Robert Barnes. No. Robert Barnes is featured prominently in every Josh Jacobs highlight, and I fear now that he's playing linebacker at the University of Oklahoma, he's going to be a highlight in many more highlights, a feature in many more highlights to come.
I've got to ask a quick question here just about the pick. Would you guys have gone Jacobs over a Mixon or a Devontae Adams or, even a Miles Sanders, Kenyon Drake, George Kittle? I mean, I think we're kind of getting into that badass tight end.
No one's making these wild picks. No,
I don't think you're better. I don't think it's way out there, Hoke. We talked about how there's been a run of running backs, and Stone is getting the guy that he believes is best because he's not going to be there on the wraparound.
Yeah, no, you're right. It's the Edwards-Allaire theory, like we talked about, and I think, I don't know. Joe Mixon's never got me excited as a fantasy football player. He just hasn't. If he's an RB2, fine, he's a nice piece, but he'd be a tough guy to spend a first-round pick on, in my view.
Well, I think he's just a dynamic player.
He's honestly right now for Brooks, who I guess Brooks is on the clock, and I could definitely see Brooks going homegrown Joe Mixon here.
Well, and I think it would be a fine pick. I think that offense is going to see some life. They showed signs of life later in the year. I wouldn't mind that pick here.
No, I don't think it's a bad pick here. He's and the pick is in. Brooks, the pick is in.
Oh, pick is in. Pick is in.
Waiting on the announcement.
With the 2020 virtual live draft, Our sophomore owner Brooks, which I think he's hanging out with Colin right now, so maybe it's a Brooks and Murray pick. Running back, Philadelphia Eagles, Miles Sanders.
And there you go. There is our Miles Sanders pick that we were discussing. Brooks getting in on that run on running backs. I can't remember there being this few receivers picked 10 picks in. Can you guys?
No, this is really what feels so different than last year. And Bill's in our ear reminding us that this may have a little bit of the Antonio Brown year for Bill.
Yeah, when Antonio dropped that far, nobody saw that coming. But Antonio Brown was like a perennial, like back-to-back top 3 fantasy football player. I don't know that any of these receivers are that right now. There are definitely guys you like, but I don't know.
And Bill mentioned this. I think I mentioned it earlier. There's offensive line concerns in Philadelphia. Left tackle goes down for the year. Right guard is also currently injured. There are concerns in Philadelphia along that offensive line.
Yeah, there are, and that's something you got to factor in, and that's something that a out-of-date Matt Berry love-hate list just may not factor in, and you just never know really what you're looking at until draft day, which is what makes this league what it is.
Now, Miles Sanders does feature in the passing game quite a bit, so there's added value as a pass catcher in our half-point PPR league. And as Brooks mentioned in the group text, trust the dashboard, as he said. So he's trusting his draft board, which he is calling the dashboard today. I had lunch with Brooks last week, and it was good to catch up with him. A valued member of our esteemed federation.
And he had a great first year. A little rocky there with some injuries and some bad luck, but he persevered and avoided that last place fate. If you can get that first year under your belt, kind of get your sea legs under you, I think you're in for, I think he's going to start enjoying it more. I think he's going to really show his true colors. And I'm predicting a playoff push from Brooks this year. And it sounds like Lyle's app has made the pick. The pick is in. Pick is in. And we're just waiting on the commissioner to announce. Miles Sanders, to continue that thread, I was going to guess he went to Temple. He feels like a Temple guy. I see now he went to Penn State. So, somewhat close by. He's a local Pennsylvania kid, We have that pick yet, Bill.
And maybe showing that Penn State could make a claim for RBU.
Yeah, that's true. And the pick's in.
All right. With the 11th pick in this draft, I guess Lyle's app sent Bill an automated message. I don't know if it's Alexa voice. I don't know if this is a Siri voice. I don't know how it works. But it decided to pick Nick Chubb, running back, Cleveland Brown.
Nick Chubb off the board, a guy that went pretty early last year, still goes 11th. Drew, initial thoughts?
Not surprised, but is the Cleveland offense the offense that you want to be putting stock in this year? Again, a new coach, new scheme. Perhaps they might be running a little bit more 2 tight end sets with the Austin Hooper addition. A lot of questions there in Cleveland.
I don't think Nick Chubb's a guy I would touch right now. After their year last year, I feel like they've got Kareem Hunt in that backfield. I just don't like. I don't know. I guess I have a hard time getting excited for Nick Chubb. I would have lost a lot of money guessing that Mixon stayed past Lyle and Brooks. I feel like both those guys like them some Joe Mixon. And real quick,
are we on a video delay right now? Is that what's going on? Because I feel like I'm announcing the pick.
like a 10-second delay. So
Okay,
maybe
good to
just
know.
hold
So
them
I'll
and
wait.
punch the
I'll
dog.
wait to update the Google sheet. My bad, Jensen.
So sorry about that, Jensen. Back to the analysis. Guys, the running back run continues. We have 10 running backs in the first 11 picks, and Caldwell is sitting there sweating, realizing that, he's right now he's kind of staring in the face of, I don't know, someone like David Johnston or James Conner, as his RB1. What do you do?
It's a frightening predicament. And again, for these people late in the first round, myself included, you're looking at this running back board. It's wiped out. How do you handle that? Do you say, well, maybe now is the time I can actually get some real high upside value? And really, there's only one receiver off the board, so you've got a chance to do almost anything, except grab one of these top 10 best running backs.
Aiden, I want to ask what.
I did.
Okay.
I brought that up. And
we've got a question real quick. Bill, you can't be heard, right? Okay, so let me just repeat
I'm sorry.
the question to Drew.
Yeah, repeat the question, because I'd be happy to mention again for my cousin Bennett, who's tuned in.
For the listening audience, we had a viewer question. Drew, when you're playing Josh Jacobs, do you think of him running down the field against the Cassia Hall Commandos?
No, that vaunted Blue Storm defense held Josh Jacobs in check for the most part, even though the esteemed, highly athletic linebacker Brett Boone was injured and had a broken leg that game, couldn't play, couldn't compete, couldn't lead the Blue Swarm. No, I think of the lifeless body of Robert Barnes laying on the floor in Miami at the Orange Bowl.
Yeah, tough not to think of that.
Cash Hall Commandos are 1-0 on the year. Big game against the Dutch coming up.
I was just about to ask, did I get that right on the mascot? The Commandos?
Yeah, the Commandos. Go Commandos. Yep.
Just a weird mascot. Oh, wait, I guess, Drew, you're on the clock.
Oh, am I really?
Yeah. Okay, so we will.
I was literally about to say that. I think, Boone, you're on.
Drew, yeah. It's Drew, then the doctor's corner. Drew, I think it worked pretty well for me to talk it out. So if you'd like, take us into the mind of what's going on in the Owner Boone war room right now.
Well, listen, there's really only one name left on the board, in my opinion. As I sent out in the group text earlier today, it's all on the Post-it note. It's all on the Post-it note.
So, Drew, now let's talk through this, because we've been talking about this run on running backs. Are you factoring that in and saying, I got to get me one? Or are you saying, I can get the second best receiver in this draft right now at pick 12?
Well, I don't want to give too much away, because me telling you what factors into my mind, that would give away the pick. So impossible for me to say.
The pick is in, actually. Sorry to cut in there.
With
the 12th pick in this draft, Owner Boone, our other co-anchor of Chalk Talk, is continuing the running back train, and he is picking Austin Eckler, running back, Los Angeles Chargers.
Listen, Hoke, you've been saying this all day.
A name
Can you imagine having Austin Eckler as your RB1? Can you imagine having Austin Eckler as your RB1? And yes, Hoke, I can. I've been imagining it all day. This is exactly how this first round has played out in my mind. Oh, my bad. Well, didn't intend to do that.
Yeah, no, Drew talked.
He was excited.
Drew talked.
No, I texted
Austin Eckler, though, because I just.
Well, why do I need to text Bill? Because he's just going to audibly say it to Serrani while I'm talking. Oh, my bad.
Right. Yeah. He's got the ticker. That's
okay. I was just thinking I can bypass.
Right.
So, Boone, that run on running backs, were you thinking, hey, I've got to get me one? Or, was he targeted all along? I want to know your thought process here.
No, it wasn't him specifically. In my mind, I was pretty locked. I knew we were going to have a big run on running backs in this first round. I thought maybe one more receiver would go. But this is kind of how I anticipated this playing out. So my I was picking the best available running back in my mind in the first round, and to me, that's Austin Eckler. Um, he provides.
Did you think about him possibly being there though on the wraparound and going a little more aggressive for someone like a Julio Jones, a Devontae Adams, something like that? Because I think there's a good chance he would have been there on the wraparound. Am I wrong?
It's not a risk I was willing to take.
You found your guy and you wanted him.
I was going to say, this doctor's corner, do we think they just go heavy wide receiver right now?
T.O. is such a wide receiver guy. T.O. is going to go wide receiver, and the water will find its level after T.O. is done picking.
So does Matt do it? Does Matt go receiver here too?
Matt's a little more conservative. I think he's going to go running back. Matt's pick is in.
All right, with the 13th pick in the CFF 2020 Virtual Live Draft, owner DeRuiter missed out on CEH, decided to pick.
Did you just announce that?
Huh? Joe Mixon, running back, Cincinnati Bengals.
And Joe Mixon finally off the board. As predicted, thought DeRuiter was going to go a little more conservative, saw him picking a running back, and now T.O. is going to have his pick of the wide receivers. I could also see T.O. going Kelsey, but he's picking two pass catchers here. I have no doubt about that.
That's a stone cold lock of the week or whatever? Is that your guys' like?
I also, Jackson Lyle buzzed in and said, can I get some insight from the CFF crew on what they think about Caldwell having the only wide receiver right now? I think we've addressed that Caldwell's kind of shitting himself, that he took Michael Thomas and there's no running backs left to speak of, really. Unless you want Austin Eckler as your RB1, which Drew already accomplished. But I think Caldwell's looking at a guy like, maybe Mark Ingram, Melvin Gordon, Ronald Jones.
I think
how does Ronald Jones sound as an RB1?
I think the answer is clear. We know that Caldwell is circling David Johnston. David Johnston looking for a big rebound here in Houston. Cannot wait to see Caldwell week in, week out.
T.O.'s picking George Kittle. There's no doubt. He's going Kittle and Adams.
I got Murray.
My prediction was Kittle and Adams. And T.O.'s pick is in the commissioner bag.
Did Thomas text you his first pick, Bill? Okay. First round went pretty smooth. A lot of running backs off the board. But owner Thomas Owens decided to pick Devontae Adams, wide receiver, Green Bay Packers.
And I think we saw that coming from a mile away. And like I said, I think he goes Kittle next. I think he gets his guys. He gets his pass catchers. And he moves on and hopes that, this early run on running backs levels out later, and he can come in with a guy like Ronald Jones or Hayden Hurst. Excuse me, Hayden Hurst is a tight end.
He is a tight end.
Yeah. Someone like a James Conner or Chris Carson to take them home.
Yeah, I think that's exactly right. You can find a lot of value here in the pass catchers with all these running backs off the board. And this might be the way to go. Go ahead and have a weaker running back room and try to take advantage of this high-level elite talent that still is remaining on the board. It's a strategy worth considering.
What a value pick, though, for Thomas. He gets what some consider the number one wide receiver available in a half-point PPR league at pick 14. That's just it just goes back to the question of, do you draft for value or do you draft, best available? And I think that I think he got best available for sure.
And Bill mentioned it earlier. He was talking about it. A very, essence of his draft where he had Antonio Brown drop to 14 on the wraparound, decided to pick I think it was OBJ or someone at 14 just to say that he could draft Antonio Brown in the second round.
That's right.
Surprised Thomas didn't pull that one.
Yeah, I think
All right, so we are in the second round, and props to Stephen Hope for hitting the nail on the head with this one. Thomas decided to pick at 2.01 Travis Kelce, tight end, Kansas City Chiefs.
that's just a long time of doing this job. I think we saw that coming.
My bad. I keep updating this damn Google sheet right after I say it. They're all probably getting really pissed at me.
T.O. likes, he likes his tight ends. I feel like T.O. is a guy that goes after tight ends, and I feel like he's a guy that just goes pass catchers early, always.
So you have to ask yourself here, do you think Travis Kelce is the third best wide receiver in the league? That's the question you're really having to ask yourself in this situation. And clearly, T.O. believes that. And if that's the case, T.O. is primed to get value out of that first tight end spot that none of us are able to get. There are a ton of receivers out there, a ton. So we're all going to be able to find a way to fill our wide receiver room. T.O. is finding a way to get extreme value at the tight end position that really only 4 or 5 people in this league can get.
And I've got to say, I'm actually kind of surprised he did not go with George Kittle, the man that led him to a championship last year. Do you have to kind of wonder about the karma situation going on there?
Well, it's a question you have to ask yourself. And Stephen, I apologize if I seem distracted. I'm coming up right after this, and I want to be prepared. It's difficult. There's a lot of nerves, a lot of pressure over here in the war room.
Yeah, and karma in fantasy football is a big thing. We sometimes joke in the group text about fantasy gods coming back and smiting you after doing something. I mean, this Kelce pick over Kittle, after Kittle just brought him a championship, I wouldn't be shocked to see Kelce kind of maybe get an injury bug all year, kind of get some pan hands develop, So we'll see how that pans out.
I have a belief that I do not want George Kittle on my team under any circumstances. I do not want Bruce Kittle anywhere near my program. We saw what happened as soon as Bruce Kittle left. The Sooners brought in Bill Bedenbaugh, and the program has been better for it ever since. So maybe that's just that's the karma that I see.
There's a guy I'm looking at too here that I want to get y'all's thoughts on. I saw where he tweeted the other day, if you pick me in the first round, I promise a fantasy football championship. That's Kenyon Drake. And Gardner Minshew, I guess, apparently said that too. Not as realistic of a threat there, but Kenyon Drake, he had a big year last year. He's in that Arizona offense that really came on strong. They've got Hopkins. They've got another year of Kyler Murray. So, what do we think there? Bill loves Kenyon. Boone is.
He's a dual back. He can pass or he can pass catch. He runs between the edges well. I think it's a solid grab for Arizona last year. I think he's going to get high volume this coming season.
I've got another question.
Is the pick in? Did I miss it?
I've got another question on.
We're just discussing Drake, okay? We're just discussing Drake Boone.
What's happened to guys like Julio Jones?
Kenyon Drake did so much better after he got traded. Is that just everyone getting out of Miami? As soon as you get out of that town, you just do better?
Yeah.
Was that just a couple days ago for like a conditional 7th round pick?
I feel like if I was Kalen Ballage and I got traded out of Miami, I would do whatever's possible to pass that physical exam, making sure I don't get shipped back there. Right?
Well, how awful is that? You get shipped out of Miami. You go to the Jets where you're reunited with Adam Gase.
Right. Yeah.
Maybe he wants to get back to Miami. I'll play for Brian Flores any day.
Okay, another guy too I got to wonder about is Chris Godwin. Pick is in.
All right, with the second pick of this round, in this start of the Doctor's Corner, owner DeRuiter selects the second tight end off the board, George Kittle, tight end, San Francisco. And I know Boone's on the clock, Hoke. You have any thoughts on that?
I'm already in.
Boone
So
has already
we can
made
go
his
ahead and
pick,
talk.
so we've got back-to-back picks here, ready to go.
This happens all the time in the actual NFL draft where teams start stacking it up. And Mel Kiper, Daniel Jeremiah, they got to talk for a little bit. So
I think Drew went receiver. I'm gonna guess. I don't see him taking two running backs. I think he's satisfied with his guy Eckler at RB1, and he's sticking to it.
All right, at 2.03, owner Boone has selected his second pick. It's someone that was talked about. His ears must be burning. Running back, Arizona Cardinals, Kenyon Drake.
Okay, so my question here: who would have thought last year that Kenyon Drake and Austin Eckler were going to be RB1 and RB2 on your team?
Well, last year Melvin Gordon was out there. So
no, it's crazy. Like, it's just, I'm saying from year to year, it's kind of crazy what this running back turnover that we have.
Right. Well, now we've had 14 running backs come off the board. 14 running backs in the matter of what? Just a couple, 15, 16, 17 picks. I felt if this was going to happen, you're going to have a ton of running backs go. I don't have a choice to wait for my second running back to come back around. I got to act now. That was my mindset. So I feel.
Could you tell how excited Boone, or kind of how flustered he was when we were talking about Drake? And
I was like, shit, did he get picked? I'm so locked in.
Like, what's going on here?
I had that. I had that text sent out to Bill as soon as DeRuiter went on the clock.
Yeah.
So there's been two wide receivers still taken in 15 picks. No, excuse me, 17 picks. Yeah, I mean, Kittle and Kelsey are kind of receivers, but I'm just saying formal receivers, we've had two taken. Is that because the receiver class is just not what it once was, or, I mean, what's the deal
I've never seen anything like it. I think kind of what Bill's echoing in our ears, I kind of think it's just everyone's freaking out about running backs going down, contract holdout. I think everyone's just like, let me lock it up early. Let me pound receivers later. That's what she said. So I think that's just kind of what everyone's thinking.
And again, there are so many good receivers in the National Football League, but how many actually good running backs are there? And you see this every year in the waiver wire. People are scrambling just to find a Gus Edwards to stick at your RB2.
No, you're right, and that it's kind of my thought process on Henry over Thomas. It's just you got to get them while you can, and I don't know. Sounds like we have the next pick, which is Lyle's app, trying to rebound from the Nick Chubb debacle just a few picks ago.
Probably going to be Rob Gronkowski, right? It's got to be. If I was a betting man, I probably would have said Gronkowski. But it looks like with Lyle's second pick, or I guess Lyle's app's second pick, he's going with someone he's owned a lot. Wide receiver, Kansas City Chief, Tyreek Hill.
We saw, Tyreek Hill has been on Lyle's team, I think. What's it, like the last 4 or 5 years? Like, Tyreek Hill was Lyle's pick, yes. Yes, Lyle was up. And then now it's to Brooks.
Brooks is on the clock.
So the third wide receiver goes. Brooks is trying to follow up his Miles Sanders pick, which I think can be done. I think he can follow up Miles Sanders.
Did you guys check Snapchat? Colin Murray and Brooks Wright, they have a little dashboard going. You know, they've been doing some in-depth analysis. So I think this picture is going to shock us. I really do.
Yeah, I mean, well, look, he's not letting his emotions get the best of him with leaving Mixon on the board. He's going with what the analytics say to go with. Obviously, with picking someone like Miles Sanders, not a sexy pick, but a guy that he thinks can lead his team to the playoffs. So is Murray part of this league, or is he just? I'm confused there because does he just help Brooks draft? Is that right?
I think Brooks considers them to be co-owners, but it might be a little bit of a Brooks's owner and president or owner and GM, kind of like Jerry, and then maybe Collins his Stephen Jones kind of on the side.
Does he have any say in, what happens during the season, or does he just kind of like to show up for the draft, get in Brooks's ear and exit afterwards?
No, that's a great question. I hope everyone sees my cat, by the way, who's climbing across the war room desk. Brooks, if you can clarify in the group text what the relationship is with Colin, that would be very helpful.
This was kind of fun the other day. I clicked info on who was in the group text, and there were some random people in there that I had no idea were still in there. I'm trying to remember if Chad Smith was one of them, but anyway, it's definitely it's not just our league and our press producer with Chalk Talk Delayed, Brian Schofield. There's some other people in there, but I hope Schofield's watching this.
Oh, that's great to hear.
Perfect. Need the exposure. Bill, what is our how many people we got watching this? Mine says 15 watching now. That's great. Exposure for the league. Did we tweet this out on our Twitter handle?
Oh, you want me to?
This jumps up to like 40 views halfway through round 3. All right.
So Eddie Rado's tuned in, likely.
Nice. Yeah, Brooks is taking a little bit of time here.
Brooks is
yeah.
Brooks is making us work for this analysis. Kind of out of things to say on Miles Sanders, and it's a tough prediction knowing he's kind of going the analytical route. What I'm more interested in to see is how Stone follows up Josh Jacobs. Stone's a guy that I feel like finds himself stuck after having picked like 7 running backs or 7 receivers in a row. He's a guy that gets in a groove, and he trusts his board. He's a big trust the board guy.
Trust the board guy.
So correct. I see him kind of surprising us.
A big pen and paper guy. But it looks like Brooks's pick is in. He's stacking running backs. He's picking a running back out of Green Bay. His name is Aaron Jones. So Aaron Jones is off the board.
Aaron Jones off the board, a guy that Brooks had last year. And he was like the number 1 ranked running back there for a little while, but kind of fell off at the end. Again, the running back run is not stopping. And it makes me so Caldwell's definitely picking a running back here, right?
Right.
I don't think necessarily.
I was just gonna say, how are you feeling about getting a pretty solid wide receiver sitting there? With the 4 spot, you probably weren't thinking you weren't getting someone that well.
Yeah, no, and because I was not expecting a solid wide receiver when it got back to me. I may still not get him. I mean, there are several picks left to go. I could see Stone. I think Serrani is going to go receiver. I think Bill's going to go receiver. Walker and Stone, I could see going running back. They're bigger board guys than field guys. Walker is a fan of the Astros, big into analytics and numbers and just trusting what makes the most statistical sense. So yeah, I don't know. We'll see.
I think it's a viable strategy for a guy like Caldwell to totally abandon the running back position. Go ahead and get the value at wide receiver, because what's the difference between David Johnson, Mark Ingram, and then who knows, maybe Le'Veon Bell's there, and you think he's got some high upside in New York. So there might be enough for him to grab later, but I would rather take one of these top 7 receivers.
All right, so it sounds like the pick is in. Jackson Stone just elected not to go running back stack. He is picking Julio Jones, wide receiver, Atlanta Falcons.
Now, I feel like Julio is such a Stone pick. I feel like he's had him like the last, I don't know, 2 of the last like 4 years, and he's a guy that Stone, once he stops scoring, touchdown, or maybe if he's having a rough couple games, Stone is quick to jump ship on a guy like Julio. So watch out for that. Something to watch for if you're looking for a trade after a slow start to Julio's season. But a solid pick, a solid wide receiver who's going to munch up some yardage and never not get you double-digit points.
I'm not sure what board doesn't have Julio Jones as a top 5 wide receiver, and you're getting a top 5 wide receiver in the middle of the second round, you've got to feel pretty comfortable.
Yeah, you do. And we've got word from Eric Jensen that Walker is waiting on the trash can to know who to pick. So
it's an off-speed pitch. Don't worry about it.
We could be here a little bit waiting for that trash can bang. But
that's the Astro shit, isn't it?
Well, here, let me check. Let me check Walker on the Peloton app. My Buns of Anarchy brother.
Maybe
he may have gotten a quick ride in between his first and second round picks. Let's take a look.
Yeah. So your Buns of Anarchy crew, is it you, Eric, or you, Jensen, and Walker?
It is.
You really looked like you know what you were doing in some of that B-roll footage, Drew, this morning.
Walker got a nice workout today, 20-minute pop ride with Allie Love. Had 162 on his output, and he finished 7,000th in the class, but out of 44,000. So take it with a grain of salt.
That's not too bad. That's a good ratio.
Upper quartile there for sure.
And now I know Brian Schofield and I had a nice long conversation this week over text message about our power or output to weight ratio, our output to weight ratio.
Okay, now real quick, does
Sco not
think you guys are complete posers with your Peloton? I'm surprised Sco is even humoring you in a conversation about that.
Well, we're here talking about numbers and figures, and I think that's something that is geeky enough for him to get excited about. We were talking about, if you guys remember, to his articles that come out on Friday, his cycling section. We're talking about Puck Moonen's her numbers. She's a 4.4, which is kind of pathetic for a pro racer. But PFP, what a stud she is, world champion, and both of those individuals are worth following on Instagram. So thank you to Brian Schofield.
Does the location of where you placed your Peloton bike in your house, is that like a big talk about point for you guys too? Is it like, I'm trying to mimic weather outside, so maybe out, under a vent, and maybe crank the AC up to like 60, crank it down to like 60, 65? Yeah, are we doing this outside sometimes? Are we trying to like,
Well,
it's
fairly heavy. So I keep it inside. But it's just in a room in the house that, I don't want it in the living room. I don't want it in the dining room. So it's in the dog's room, which is the guest bedroom that just has a couch in it. So out of the way.
It sounds like the pick is in.
All right, then it sounds like owner Walker has made a selection. He took a little hop off that Peloton bike to go ahead and text us that DeAndre Hopkins has returned to Houston, and that is his selection. DeAndre Hopkins, Arizona Cardinals, wide receiver.
Hopkins has returned to Houston. Walker, he needed some connection to Nuke the bomb, and he did that via his fantasy team, and I love the pick. I associate Julio and Hopkins are always just going to be associated with one another to me. And we are just getting word from our producer that Caldwell asked Bill when the order came out if 5 was too early for Hopkins. And let's see, 12 picks later, 14 picks later, he goes to Connor Walker at pick number, what is this?
No, it doesn't matter what pick it
21,
is.
pick 21, yeah. Eric Johnston commentary coming in. The Peloton belongs in the back of the living room with view the TV. Yeah, Jensen, that's a good point. And I think SCO would really have a problem with you saying that you're getting a legitimate bike ride in while watching, the Brady Bunch or whatever your show of choices that day. But so I think SCO is kind of humoring you guys when he's talking numbers. But, SCO is a guy that rides by feel. He does not have any idea what his output is.
He knows.
He's gonna ride
professional.
He's gonna ride, to the top of the Wichita Mountains and eat a Snickers bar and have a Diet Coke and not really give a shit what his numbers are.
I don't know. SCO was on the Sooner cycling squad, so he probably knows.
Pick is in for Eric Serrani, and that worries me because okay, go ahead.
Yeah, so I'm
I'll
kind
take
of
it for you, Steve.
continuing this green train on the Google Doc sheet. I'm also picking a wide receiver. Tampa Bay, not Mike Evans, Chris Godwin.
I think a lot of folks have Chris Godwin and Mike Evans back-to-back on their big boards. A solid pick. Well, Bill, I think they do because they are in fact back-to-back. They are in fact back-to-back on my big board. But a solid pick. And so, Serrani, take us through what you're thinking when going with Chris Godwin.
Yeah, so my thought process behind Godwin was, these wide receivers are kind of fell. I think it was a prime spot for, to pick a top 5 to 10 talent in the league at wide receiver. They signed Brady this offseason. I don't know how shot his arm is. Mike Evans is their big play receiver. So I'm thinking Godwin's going to gobble up a lot of that intermediate, kind of the screen routes, but he's a big bodied guy. He has nice hands, and I'm just I just thought that's what my team needed.
I think a guy like Chris Godwin, he's been getting a lot of reps against a premier defensive back in the NFL. We all know that's Parnell Motley. So he's probably had a tough camp, and I think that's something you should be excited about.
So. Did I hear Chris Godwin went? Okay, Chris Godwin. Sorry, I had to step out.
All right, and I think the Bills pick is in. I think he was going to pick Chris Godwin, but he kind of gypped me on the first round pick, so I thought I'd gyp him back coming around the second round. So he kind of went running back, and he's picking James Conner, Pittsburgh Steelers.
James Conner, Pittsburgh Steelers, off the board. I just got a little nervous, guys. I'm have not been keeping up with who's been picked and who's available.
What's wrong with him?
What?
Why not?
Okay, Serrani's on the phone. I thought he was talking to me. Our commissioner does not respect the CFF Live studios.
I mean, shit, put it on mute.
Yeah,
that's all right.
Show some respect and put it on mute at least. But yeah, this gets me a little nervous because now I'm realizing that I am fast approaching.
So who's
Guys,
on
what
the
do we
clock
think
here?
of Kenny
Sorry,
Galladay?
that was Colin Murray to call me and just rag on me about picking Chris Godwin. He said it was a horrible pick.
Who's on the clock right now?
Caldwell is on the clock. What do we think about Kenny Galladay, gentlemen? Just
Is that to help you or to help Chris? Which one's that?
But they don't have. Who is Galladay's quarterback?
Stafford. He's
Is
healthy.
he playing
He's
this
healthy.
year?
Yeah,
he's playing this year.
He's healthy.
It's his wife that's hurt.
Yeah, I think I would think about it. I would weigh it pretty heavily picking that with your next pick, Hoke. He's good. Some people label him Babytron. Obviously they used to have Megatron there. Got a nice nickname in Babytron.
If Caldwell snipes me, man, we're gonna have issues because I've got my guy. I've got my guy selected, and it sounds like he's calling Bill. He is on the phone with Bill as we speak, and
here, listen, we will talk you. Let's talk you through.
Okay,
Kenny Galladay.
He's gonna take and he bailed.
I love when Chris comes up. It's an immediate. Bill gets the phone and just leaves.
And Bill, it's like he's keeping Bill on retainer. Like the way that Bill just is so loyal to. I think Bill just loves having his voice heard and his opinion respected by someone like Chris. Kind of puppeteering him through.
And picking back to back there, Bill feels comfortable. He knows that he's going to get his guy on this wraparound, but he knows he can manipulate Caldwell coming back. So I think Bill's in a good position here. This is exactly who Bill wanted to pick next to you.
Yeah, I guess I just don't get Caldwell's strategy there, but I guess he doesn't. I mean, Levesque at this point, pretty. I don't think Levesque has much interest in trying to help Chris out. I don't know. Caldwell finds the guy and sticks with him. So I think I heard DJ Moore uttered. Bill was apparently saying he loves Kenny Galladay, but I'd just be shocked if Chris doesn't go running back here.
Well, you've got Todd Gurley on the board. You've got Chris Carson on the board. You got Mark Ingram, David Johnston. So you've got options, but I wouldn't necessarily call any of them good options. Not bad, a couple of them, but so he's in a predicament here. And Caldwell does gravitate to guys who he
like
recognizes.
The pick is in, gentlemen. The pick is in. Bill is smirking. What do we got, Bill? He loves this team so far. Adam Thielen, and he did not snipe who I needed.
Let's run
Okay.
Oh,
Chris Caldwell has decided to pick Adam
I'm just
Thielen.
reacting.
Thanks for that, Steve.
Can't believe that hadn't happened yet.
Yeah.
This does give me a little bit of admiration for the guys that are actually in live broadcasting, having to keep your train of thought while ignoring the conversation of your producer in your ear. It's
and it's another challenge entirely when I'm looking at who is even available to be drafted with the next pick, and then But I've settled on my guy, so let me text Bill here. I like where this team's at. And Lyle with a good point. We've had a couple of scrolling opportunities. Most notably was the Austin Eckler pick.
I had Austin Eckler much higher than both Joe Mixon and.
No, I'm just kidding. James Conner was a little low on this board I'm looking at, but picks in.
No worries. All right. Steve-O has decided to pick with his second pick in the draft. Mike Evans, wide receiver, Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Yeah,
Talk us
so
through
I had
this.
to. Sorry, Drew. Say that again.
I said, talk us through this pick.
So I had to go receiver. I had to get one of them because a run's kind of happening here. And Mike Evans. So I feel like Tom Brady is in for a quote unquote revenge year. He's finally got a big target to throw to in a offense that should be somewhat lethal with OJ Howard, Gronk, and Chris Godwin. A little worried about him getting his fair share of touches, but when you got a guy like Tom Brady throwing you the ball over Jameis Winston, he's not going to know what to do with himself.
So a couple counterpoints that I'd like to ask you. Well, he's always had a big target with Gronk in New England, and Mike Evans is a deep ball threat. Does Tom Brady have the ability to do anything other than throw a 5-yard out to a slot receiver?
That's to be seen because he hasn't really had a deep threat in New England to speak of that I can really think of. So I don't know. I mean, my thoughts are I didn't want anything to do with Odell. I did kind of want A.J. Brown, but I did not really want to put all my chips into the Tennessee offense. And then after that, I mean, Allen Robinson, Ridley, but nobody really was that appealing to me. I mean, I don't want anything to do with some Detroit wide receiver, Kenny Galladay.
What about Odell? What about Odell?
I said I don't want anything to do with that Browns offense.
So basically, you asked yourself, do I want Tom Brady? Do I want Ryan Tannehill, or do I want Mitch Trubisky? Is that fair to say? Is that kind of the conversation
fair.
I had in your head?
Do any of those guys get you excited? The Allen Robinsons, and the pick.
All right. And it sounds like Eric Jensen's pick is in. Owner Jensen has elected to pick Kenny Galladay, wide receiver, Detroit Lions.
And there goes the Kenny Galladay. So when Eric Jensen picks a guy like Kenny Galladay, it does make me kind of question if I made the right decision. Now, when Bill is high on somebody like Kenny Galladay, Bill likes these obscure kind of fringy breakout guys. But I trust Eric Jensen's big board, and so I am kind of wondering if I will regret the Mike Evans pick. And Jensen also probably heard me talking about what do we know about Kenny Galladay, so he was probably kind of sweating there.
Bill, let me ask. Bill just said, when I go to the big board, I go to the stats. He showed us his big board and kind of started tapping on the Pro Football Focus logo. So let me ask Bill this question. I guess, Hoke, you can relay the answer since Bill can't be heard. Is that a subscription service?
So it's not a subscription service, or Bill did not choose that. So you've really switched up your
or
fantasy.
He's not confident that he chose the subscription service.
So he's kind of switched up his source. Was your early source Fantasy Pros like paid for access? It was the Fantasy Footballer for anybody who listened to it. He was one of their first 500 listeners. So he used to have messages read on the show weekly. Okay, so that's a little concerning, but
and Jensen just added here a good point that might make you feel a little bit better, Steve. He was happy with Evans or Galladay, and he honestly wanted Evans. So
that does make me feel better with a guy like Jensen to endorse my pick. Speaking of endorsing, Chris Caldwell is really fired up about you taking Eckler at 12. I don't know if Chris had ever heard the name Austin Eckler before today. There's a good chance.
I mean, he was probably. Bill might be able to back me up on this. A top 5 running back until Melvin Gordon came back in the picture.
He was great. I'm just telling you that Caldwell's having trouble.
kind of right in that
ballpark.
Bill had him 16 on his board.
You wanted a running back. Yeah.
And 15 on Bill's big board was Kenyon. Now, we're finally back to Chad and Graham, who have had quite an off period here. What do we think they're going to do? I mean, they've got this wraparound going. It's going to be really interesting to see. I mean, we're going to know we're going to know what. Yeah, Bill thinks Chad's going A.J. Brown. We're going to know the basic structure of Chad's team here in a mere, 5-10 minutes.
Do we think Chad goes a quarterback here and takes Lamar or Patrick Mahomes? Do we think that happens at all?
You've got the pick.
The pick is in.
Pick is in.
Well, it sounds like Busby has not tuned out. He's still here with us, and he has sent in his second pick in this draft. It is Chris Carson, running back, Seattle. I'm glad you bring that up, what our punishment's going to be. I don't know. What are you guys thinking? I was thinking maybe like a hot wings challenge or something like that.
Yeah, it is important to get that settled early.
Now, as Bill pointed out, Chris might be having a rough night tonight.
So I do want to ask here. So Caldwell, us talking about him and going, wide receiver. How many waiver wire moves do you think he makes for running backs this year? How many different running backs does he pick up off the waiver wire this year? I'm setting the over under at 12.
I think Chris might be looking at RB1 Adrian Peterson,
which would be a fantastic RB1 12 years ago. Bill said he's going to get 250 carries. Hard time seeing that. Does Washington have anybody else, though? I mean, is Geis in jail or?
How's that doing? Is he making the roster? Is Bryce Love making the roster? Do we know that?
I say Geis. Wait, what happened to Bryce Love? The Stanford guy? Oh yeah, he got injured ACL.
Bill, who did you say is the other Washington running back that's having a good camp? Because it's Antonio Gibson and Adrian Peterson, right? J.D. McKissick.
So I want to real quick go over Chris Carson. Chris Carson is not a sexy pick, but he is a guy I've had on my last two teams that have made those championship games, and he has been incredible. Like, he comes alive from like weeks 11 to 17, and he's kind of a machine. He got hurt last year late, and they've had a couple other guys kind of come on, but if he's healthy, he is a stud to have on your team.
And this sets up well for Caldwell to pick up his ideal handcuff, Carlos Hyde. Chris is definitely picking Carlos Hyde at least 2 rounds too early because he needs the security blanket for his RB1. Oh, excuse me. My fault.
Chris is beside himself about this Eckler pick.
I think Chris is hammered.
Yeah, I see Chris's text message popping up on my screen, so I'm
Owner Wallace has been a little quiet.
I'm going to get a beer while he decides. Oh,
Pick is in. Pick is in.
All right. And for Owner Wallace's first pick on this back-to-back, he is staying in the Carolina Panthers camp, and he is picking DJ Moore, a wide receiver.
DJ Moore, wide receiver out of Carolina. We talked about a little bit about it earlier, Drew. This Matt Rule offense, he's it's going to be interesting to see if him and Bridgewater can make that connection.
Yeah, there's no doubt, but he's the most talented receiver on that team. And even though there's 32 starting running backs in the NFL, there's really not 32 good ones. There's 32 good. Oh,
sounds like we have a mistake.
There's a mistake here.
Mistake. I'm guessing Chad wanted somebody else at that spot and wanted DJ Moore with his second pick.
Perhaps DJ Shark? Oh,
Oh, wow. David,
Well,
running back?
let's run that back. It wasn't DJ Moore. It was David Johnson, running back. Is he in the Houston Texans now? Right.
Houston Texans. That's right.
All right.
Now,
So not DJ Moore. There's a lot of DJs out there.
Stone, you want to talk about scrolling.
I was thinking DJ Shark.
My mouse scroller cannot scroll that quickly. I am like 150 lines down and still don't see his name. But Chad is a guy you've kind of got to trust the process with. Wow, David Johnson. So what is his deal? I know he's in Houston now, right? But is he, what? Because I guess Lamar Miller's out, right? Lamar Miller's not there.
No Lamar Miller. No Hopkins. No, I don't know who their running back was last year. Was it Carlos Hyde? I don't know. He may be walking into a starting role. Yeah.
Okay, David Johnson's not as far down as I guess I thought he was. For some reason I thought he was like hurt and just kind of in no man's land, but
Chad could be thinking like, let me lock up running back now, and maybe instead of
Duke. Oh my gosh, Duke Johnson is the classic throw-in trade piece. It's like, and I'll give you Duke Johnson too.
Yeah, you're trading with someone and they ask for a little something. You're like,
yeah,
all right,
it's like, all right, will Duke Johnson get us over the finish line here?
Yeah. You'll play him one bye week.
Duke Johnson frustrates. And the pick is in.
All right, the pick is in. Start us off with the third round. He's picking a bear. Allen Robinson, wide receiver.
I like this pick. I really do. A-Rob was someone that I had on my team. Traded for him. I think. Did I trade with you, Serrani, for that?
Yeah, I think so. I drafted him last year, and I had a running back go down early. And I just decided to dish out my stable of wide receivers to you.
Yeah, let's talk about that trade for a second because you said, I'll give you a receiver. How's Mecole Hardman sound? I said, no, give me Allen Robinson.
Gosh,
you said okay.
I'm a big start low guy, dude. Like I start with Mecole Hardman, and then we'll meet somewhere in the middle.
Yeah, but that was not somewhere in the middle. That was just plain insulting. What? He's the number 3 in Kansas City. I go, yeah, not including Kelsey.
Well, it obviously didn't work. I went like 4-12 last year or some shit.
Well, we both missed the playoffs, so who gives a shit?
Now, this is kind of a tough topic to talk about because I've got 2 guys drafting right after me. But what do we know about Jonathan Taylor, the Wisconsin fellow?
He's in Indianapolis.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, Marlon Mack, and then Nyheim Hines. So is it a crowded backfield? Probably not, but Marlon Mack's can get some carries.
I was about to say there's definitely some names in there, so it's one of those where it's like it's a sort of crowded backfield because we know those names, right? But there's a scenario where JT just takes over and it's everything. Right.
Wait, say that again. Todd Gurley, Mel. Oh, yeah.
Toss Mark Ingram in that group too.
Right. Yeah. He's definitely exciting. It's just does he get the reins this year? Does he get the reins next year? Is it week 2? Is it week 12?
And guys that are on there still are Odell Beckham, obviously, and AJ Brown's an interesting name too. Which you guys know I'm not picking him because I'm not trying to go all in on Tennessee. But what do you guys think of him?
Talented, but he caught so many touchdowns last year. I think that production has to dip a little bit.
True.
No, I don't. Bill said it. I don't trust Ryan Tannehill. I agree, Bill.
Yeah. He is
I
a
don't
mismatch
want to-
nightmare. He is a mismatch nightmare.
Who would have thought that Ryan Tannehill would have a better career as a quarterback than Johnny Manziel?
Yeah,
Not me.
there's a fair amount of people.
Bill says it's too early to make that statement. Johnny Manziel may have had a better career. His one start for the Hamilton Tiger Cats or whatever.
Wasn't he like the last guy to get a win for a while there before Baker?
Oh yeah, in Cleveland is what you're saying.
And I'm
right?
curious.
I kind of think Robert Griffin III got a win.
Who's going to touch this Bears backfield? It's disgusting. Tariq Cohen, David Montgomery.
Well, hey, you say that, Bill. There may be a Fournette. Fournette may land there. You never know.
Hey, I'm looking at my list here. Do you guys remember when Bill picked Johnston in like the first round last year?
Yeah, last year. Yeah. Yeah, that was last year.
He was. Could Clyde Edwards-Helaire be this year's Johnson? Not a question. A stud SEC running back who, took everybody by storm, said he was killing it in camp, and Bill fell for it.
I think there's a chance.
Graham's
I don't know.
I'm assuming he knows that. He's been following, I think. I don't know what Chris is texting about. Were videos played tonight? Oh.
I did wake up to that at like 11:15 last night. It was nice 15-minute watch as I was half asleep.
That was a great video, Bill, by the way.
It was. That was great production value.
I gotta say, Thomas. I texted Thomas. Thomas really cracked me up in that video. It had a little bit of the Club Pro guy vibes.
Yeah.
I was laughing pretty hard at your Drew, at your Peloton B-roll. You pick us in from Busby. We're waiting. It's got to be a receiver.
Does Busby go Raider here and maybe pick Henry Ruggs? What do we think?
Amari Cooper, a guy I had my eye on. Doesn't matter that much. I mean, I know, but whatever.
Used to be.
One way or another. Used to be. Yeah. These are a couple. I'm just trying to get back to my days of service. So, Ronnie, you can take my role here and talk about
Amari Cooper. You probably know the most about the Cowboys, but they got CeeDee Lamb coming in. Zeke's healthy. I don't know.
How many Gallup
going to get this year?
Yeah, it's a crowded offense, but I think that serves Amari well. He's and he's a guy too that can just go off, and he may win you 2 games because he has 200 yards receiving. I remember he brought Stone back from like pretty much left for dead with like a 45-point performance a year or 2 ago. So I like that pick. And it's fun to see now with 3 picks, you can kind of see what your team looks like. And so it's a good stopping point.
Yeah, 3 rounds is perfect. You really develop the nucleus of your team, but you got to fill it in on the back end. But you can't win the draft on day 1, but you can certainly lose it. And there's only one team in my mind that's at risk right now, and that's Chris Caldwell, who's off dove hunting.
He's in major risk.
That's true. Bill does say he's got 35 points from his receivers, but when you're going to get 6.5 points from your running backs, all I'm seeing is Santa hats.
Yeah.
I hear jingle bells.
Just reading up about Odell Beckham here. Odell's a guy that Jensen loves, so I can see that happening.
The pick is in.
If you sniped me, we're going to have issues. The pick is in. Pick is in. Reading to Serrani.
All right, with Jensen's third round pick, he has gone newly acquired Atlanta running back Todd Gurley.
Wow, my heart sank because the player I was picking, I thought Bill said, and I misunderstood it. So that's major. But my guy is still on the board. Let me see, just making sure. Okay, Mark Ingram, Leonard Fournette, Melvin Gordon. None of those guys do much for me. Oh, there's David Johnston.
love the shot at Chad.
Ronald Jones, Evan Ingram, Leonard Fournette. Okay, I've got my pick here. Let me text you, Bill. I don't know why I love this guy. I just feel like I see a big year coming from him. I feel like he's starting to establish himself. So pick is into you, Bill. Pick has been delivered. Bill just gave me a fuck you for those at home that can't hear Bill.
I think Bill will get to draft him.
Billson.
All right. Well, we're getting back-to-back Atlanta Falcons here, not receivers, excuse me. Hoax going Calvin Ridley, wide receiver.
So when Bill announced the pick and he said Gurley, I thought he said Ridley, and I was like, that's really going to mess up my research here. But I feel like I just had a big weight lifted now that my third guy is in. Bill just said, oh, my God, off screen.
I really like that Calvin Ridley pick. I think their offense is going to be, top tier. He's going to demand a lot of targets. And, I mean, if Julio loses any sort of step,
That's my thoughts. And I've had Julio when, and there's been games where Calvin is like the lead guy.
Right.
I feel like just another year, Julio's getting older. Take us in, Caldwell.
Yeah, and just to get Chris's pick in, Chris finally. Oh,
Wait. Pick was in. Bill's telling us to stop.
Yeah, we might have had a JJ to DJ ordeal, so the pick is not locked in yet.
I think it's been locked.
Well, I don't. Yeah, Bill, what's going on?
He texted. No, I don't know that that's how this works.
I don't want to say that person's name, but
okay.
MG, you did?
The pick is in then. It's already on the screen, so go ahead and announce it.
I mean, it's not a horrible pick. Chris needs a running
Gordon.
back. It sounds like he's picking Denver's. There's a lot of turnover in the NFL. A lot of players bumping around. Looks like Melvin Gordon, Denver running back. Chris locked him in. The question mark.
So Melvin Gordon, that Denver backfield though, you've got the Phillip Lindsay. You've got who's the other guy that?
The guy I tried to pawn off on everyone last year, Royce Freeman.
Yes, Royce Freeman. It's a crowded backfield. Melvin had a year off, and he was awesome when he was, the lead guy in San Diego. But I don't know. I don't know if that's my RB1.
Right. Yeah. But we're getting to that point to where it's like Chris hadn't picked a running back in so long.
Yeah. He had to do what he could.
Exactly.
I think I may have gone I don't know. He didn't have a ton of options there. I do kind of like this Jonathan Taylor guy, but I don't know enough about Indianapolis to really say that. Bill's pick is in. No, Caldwell picked Melvin Gordon. That's what we've been talking about for the last 5 minutes. Bill is telling us that Caldwell did not pick Melvin Gordon. Did not pick Melvin Gordon.
So
even though that was
the fiasco has already started. The
Okay.
season hasn't started, but we already have an issue.
I
sounds
think
like
what
Chris
happened
did
was
not
I
pick
think
Melvin Gordon.
Bill, as a paid consultant, said, Caldwell, what are you thinking? And wow.
Well, I guess Chris's third round pick is not, in fact, Melvin Gordon. It is Le'Veon Bell.
And Chris has wished us good night.
I think that is a worse pick. I think Melvin would have been the smarter play there. Who does Le'Veon play for? The Jets? I mean, does he play more than 6 games this year?
Do they throw him the ball ever? Is the question.
I thought Le'Veon was like wanting out of New York and just miserable.
I mean, to play for that regime for longer than
he was miserable in Pittsburgh, so can that guy ever be happy?
No,
I got to tell you, Steven, I'm so thrown off by this Melvin Gordon, Le'Veon Bell debacle.
Yeah, it's a little inexcusable in my view, but take his end.
Damn it. All right. Well, Bill has selected his third round pick, and I think he's just loading up on rookies because he's selected his second rookie running back, Jonathan Taylor, running back, Colts.
So I've been talking about Jonathan Taylor all night. You guys have been trying to play it off as if you know nothing about this guy, and I'm just trying to have a genuine broadcast, genuine conversation here, and I'm getting lied to in front of my face about Clyde Edwards-Helaire, Jonathan Taylor, Kenny Golladay, you name it. A little disingenuous from the crew here, but.
Sorry, I'm prepping.
I feel like
it's my pick. Sorry, it's my pick. I'm not gonna have a lot of feedback for the next.
Okay, so
I'm locked back in, Steve.
I'm going solo here, but so Bill went. Okay, so Bill's now gone 3 running backs. Bill does not have a receiver. That's going to be interesting. Bill's a guy that loves doing this. He's kind of like Stone in this regard. He loves kind of the attention of, I went 3 running backs. I got my guys, but I feel like in years past it's backfired. Like I just feel like you need some. You need to spread your roster out a little bit more.
Stephen, that may be true, and Bill does have a bit of a history of getting too cute at times. But Bill he has a reputation as being the waiver wire hawk for a reason. And there is a plethora of decent to good to even borderline great wide receivers, not just on a year-to-year basis, but on a week-to-week basis, and that's where Bill thrives. So I think he's trusting his ability as a in-season manager and loading up on what he knows to be solid running back talent when, as we saw in the first round, there's hardly any left.
Yeah, it's you can't fault that strategy. He's got a couple unknown commodities with Taylor, Edwards-Helaire, and James Conner could even be in that class of a little bit of an unknown commodity. Just coming off the injury and a lot of question marks in Pittsburgh. So, he's going to be trying to trade for a receiver, but if he plays his cards right, then he may get a lot of value from a guy like Taylor. Serrani is on the clock.
Again,
I texted Bill. But
okay. As we talked about, and the pick's just about to be in, but it is a crowded backfield in Indianapolis. But how many starting running backs are left?
And Bill Cerrone took a guy that Bill had crossed off from earlier. And so that makes me think it may be Melvin Gordon, but
Or DJ Moore.
It is not Melvin Gordon. It is in fact DJ Moore.
Yeah. And that's just Cerrone, that's just paying attention. That's just devils in the details on these drafts. A lot of guys probably marked DJ Moore off the board, and he's there for the taking 7 or 8 picks later. So DJ Moore off the board in the Matt Rule hoodie offense.
And, is there anyone to fault except for Bill himself? He's the one that's relaying the picks out loud to the YouTube world. He crossed him off. This is just a lack of preparedness on Bill's part, lack of organization. But listen, we talked about this at the very beginning of the show. He's got a lot going on in his head. He's running the show, making sure it looks fine on the YouTube stream. Can you fault the guy? He's also on his 6th beer and 4th dip of the night.
It's kind of like, Drew.
You got to respect it.
It's kind of like when we were driving down to New Orleans and he got pulled over, and it was justified because he's watching March Madness. He's texting, or Snapchat.
And he's only got one good eye.
Phone. He's got like a dip cup in the other hand, and he's driving like with his, he's driving with his legs up like this, like on the steering wheel, and no wonder he gets pulled over. But
the cop looks in the car, sees a bunch of guys that look like they could questionably be sophomores in high school. He knew exactly what we were doing. He was setting the tone early when he gave Bill that ticket.
And I think Bill blamed me, but it's akin to that with Bill trying to fumble through the production, getting all the picks texted to him. Like you said, he's on 6 beers. He had a big thing of skillet queso from Chili's earlier. I'm guessing the fajitas accompanied it, maybe the Big Mouth.
I don't know.
Burger, but
Bill is a chicken crisp. He's a chicken crisp guy.
Fajitas. I know him too well. He confirmed chicken fajitas were the entree of choice.
The margarita chicken is delicious. It's on the light menu too, so smart decision, but Bill did not go with it tonight.
Bill's down 25 pounds since January, so he is in football season shape. Rocking that vest at a crisp OU football game. He's ready to go and show off the new body. So hopefully we can have football and maybe some fans in the stands. But
who's on the clock? Am I on the clock again?
No,
okay.
It's Walker. Walker waiting on the trash can. And then we will have the pick in. So Walker's following up a Dalvin Cook, DeAndre Hopkins situation. Bill, he texted you the pick? Pick is in. Bill has been searching for the pick on his list, so that makes me wonder where Walker chose to go.
All right, the pick is in. Owner Walker has decided to pick a Rams wide receiver, Cooper Kupp.
Cooper Kupp, a guy that Connor Walker I feel like loves. I feel like Cooper Kupp has ended up on Walker's team one way or another the last 3 or so years.
Yeah, I mean he knows who he likes and he goes after him and he locks that up quickly.
Is that the receiver that you have as the number 1 in LA?
I think many have Robert Woods as the number 1 in LA, don't they?
I do on my board.
The receiver free-falling, I'm just going to say it. I don't know. So it's Stone, Brooks, Lyles, Boone, Matt, and T.O. But A.J. Brown is just sitting there. Is that just me? And Odell, yeah. Odell and A.J. Brown are like glaringly not great.
You're right.
So, Stone screams Odell here.
Oh, yeah, this has Odell.
He's a big brand wide receivers. He's going to love that he's got Julio and Odell in rounds 2 and 3. No question, Stone goes Odell here. And Brooks needs a receiver. I'm thinking Brooks goes A.J. Brown. We'll see how it plays out.
Yeah, for sure Odell's not making it past the next 2 picks, though.
No.
Juju.
Yeah, Bill said Stone's a Roethlisberger guy. Could pick Juju. I think he had Juju last year and did not like him.
Well, Juju would follow up with what he's doing with the JJs on his team right now. He's got Josh Jacobs. He's got Julio Jones. Maybe he goes Juju.
But he's got Odell Beckham Jr. Huh? Continue with the Jays.
Interesting.
But yeah, Juju does fit that a little better. Is anybody going to pick Leonard Fournette? I mean,
I think
it's for like round 6 or 7, right?
You think it's going to be Bill thinks it's going to be rounds 10 or 12. Is that Bill scheming so he can get him in round 6?
Leonard Fournette may be picked up by Sunday. I had Leonard last year, and he was a workhorse, but yeah, he would get like 32 carries and like 84 yards a game.
Bill, check your Pro Football Focus over there. I don't know why. Maybe it's just on the top of my head. I think Fournette had like 70 catches last year.
He had a ton. He had a ton of catches.
That sounds correct.
I want to say
So does he have value in our league? Half point PPR? That's 35 points.
For sure, he does. Depending on where he lands, if it's going to be somewhere where it's like, crowded backfield and kind of a middle of the road offense, maybe.
I want to say real quick, I love the Leonard Fournette discussion, but I don't know how these guys on the NFL Network like broadcast the draft for like 6 straight hours, because I'm starting to get kind of tired.
I'm getting taxed, yeah.
Well, they're probably not drinking Truly lemonades.
It's refreshing. Well, it was either this or Corona. Those are the only 2 options that we had, and I didn't really feel like a Corona, so they're
here's a Leonard Fournette story I'd like to share.
Pick is in.
All right, with Stone's 3rd pick, he's picking sophomore phenom A.J. Brown, Tennessee wide receiver.
I'm going to my story whenever we're done talking about A.J. Brown. Oh, yeah.
I was wondering that. Do you think we've still got most of the league in, or are they just kind of looking when the Google Doc gets updated? Because it's been pretty quiet in the CFF text, save for Caldwell continually texting. But if we can get some support from the group text, that would really take us home here through the last 5 picks.
The weekend that OU was in the Sugar Bowl against Alabama, we're at Huge Ass Beers. I don't know what night it was. A couple days before the game, and Leonard Fournette that night committed on the TV to the University of LSU.
I remember that.
The University of LSU. A couple days later, everyone is just raving about this great NFL back, T.J. Yeldon, who would one day back up Leonard Fournette in Jacksonville. But that was the night all of us had the absolute biggest boners. I know Hoke and I did, because we were sitting together at that game. Derrick Henry walks on the field, and my God, I've never seen, not since Adrian Peterson at least, I've never seen a man amongst boys on that field. And that was the absolute worst coaching job Nick Saban could have done that night. He should have had 45 touches.
He should have. I don't know how he wasn't the most dominant running back college football's ever seen. Because now he's, kind of taken the NFL by storm after a bit of a slow start. But no, you're right. I do remember that day. I remember when Leonard Fournette committed and it took the wind out of Alabama sails. That may have been the momentum that sprung, OU to a victory. Really. Oh, shit. What happened?
We've lost Ronnie.
What's up?
Okay. I thought we just lost the whole production. What? Serrani's down.
Is the stream down?
The stream's down?
We're back. We're live.
Okay, we're back. What just happened? You just have a power surge at your house? Serrani is nowhere to be seen.
Wait, really?
Do I need to fill in my old commissioner duties?
I'm
Yes.
there.
I've got Drew on the screen.
I can see everyone except for Serrani.
Okay, here we go. The pick, the whatever pick we are on in the draft, Brooks, Wright, and Colin Murray and/or Colin Murray select Juju Smith-Schuster, wide receiver out of Pittsburgh.
You guys hear me?
We've got Serrani back.
Yes,
Okay.
I can hear you, Serrani.
Yeah, we thought.
Okay, we were completely wrong. Odell's making it past these next.
We thought Odell was going to be, yeah. So Odell's there for Lyle. You talk about name brand guy. Lyle's a name brand guy. He's got a Tesla. He's about to buy a Peloton per the group text. He's going
recommend.
Flash. He's going Odell. Yeah, Lyle also wanted to do all 14 rounds this way, which I would have blown my brains out midway through round 4. Because I'm struggling on things to say about DJ Moore and Jonathan Taylor.
No. This is No,
Yeah,
that's the thing. The NFL Network, they even stopped talking about all these guys.
Yeah,
They'll
they
just
do.
they'll just stick on one guy for 4 picks.
It'll be somebody that they recognize that's like name brand. Like Ryan Switzer will be picked by the Cowboys, and they will zero in on the Switzer special for like 40 minutes.
He gets highlights the next 7 picks. It's just Switzer highlights.
Yes, it will just be
Well, it's just-
Switzer highlights.
The picks start coming off faster, and they're like, I mean, it's probably smart. They're only preparing highlights packages for 1 out of every 10 guys in the later rounds. So
Yeah.
Can you blame them?
Pick is in. Lyle.
All right. Well, with Lyle's 3rd pick, he's Team Browns this year. Team Cleveland Browns. He's picking his 2nd one, Odell Beckham Jr.
As we called, Lyle's a name brand guy. He's going Flash. He's going OBJ. And he is going all in on this Cleveland Browns offense, which is an interesting strategy. But, they may be in for a bounce back year.
Will the app fail him? Will the app fail him this year? Because this team is looking.
It's not. It doesn't jump off the page at me. And let's let Boone concentrate here because he's up. But Serrani, I want to get your take on what do who do you think's kind of set themselves apart from the rest of the league with their first 3 picks?
So teams that are kind of have 3 data points right now. Chad having C-Mac, that just automatically sets you apart. I feel like he was reluctant to take another RB, knowing he's not going to have an option in the next couple of rounds. So he went early on David Johnston. Don't love it. Let's see who's kind of setting themselves apart. Bill's loading up on running back. He hits on both the rookies. That could be well for him. A lot of trade bait there as well. I think my favorite team right now, though.
Let's hear your top 3 favorites.
All right, top 3 favorites. I was gonna say if I'm just looking at 2 rounds, Boone's probably my favorite team with his first 2 picks. We'll see if he messes that up here in a second. But I'll probably go. Can I throw myself in there?
No.
Okay, all right. So not counting myself. Let's go Stone. He had A.J. Brown free fall to him and Julio Jones. I thought Jones would be picked way
close, guys.
well before then. That kind of made up for his – and I love Jake. I'm a Jacobs fan, so you know what I'm saying? So we'll go Stones in the top 3. Brooks, I don't love the Aaron Jones pick. They've drafted a running back. They drafted a quarterback. I feel like they're trying to start a new regime there in Green Bay. We'll see what happens there with Aaron Dillon in the backfield.
My AirPods went down.
I like Cook's team, I'm big on Calvin Ridley this year. If Mike Evans, if Tom Brady actually has an arm and Mike Evans is a 1,200-yard receiver, that's it. There's your wide receiver one.
Feedback. The speakers on my computer are blown out.
So we'll go Stone, we'll go Hope, and I guess we'll go Bill. I like Bill starting.
I was going to throw in Graham's team. I like the Saquon Chris Carson 1-2. That is a very, very formidable running back duo, and I like Amari Cooper. So I think you guys are on with Graham maybe being the bounce back player, maybe coming in for trying to redeem himself a little bit this year. But I love Stone's team. He has had some free falls fall to him. He's in a good position after day one.
Yep.
Okay. So Bill is relaying that Lyle said he's disappointed his pick wasn't announced as I'll take a BJ with my fat chub. Is this being broadcast to children?
I hope not. We can edit that out, right?
Yeah,
I'll go ahead, guys. I'm going to go ahead and pick.
Okay.
Oh, actually, here, so I should text Bill.
So sorry, Lyle, that your cheap joke wasn't thrown in there.
And I should have thrown Buzz in there as well. The Amari Cooper, I know the Cowboys' offense is potent. What's the target outlook for him?
Boone is announcing his own pick. Pick is in.
So, with whatever pick this is, 12th pick in the third round, the Boone franchise has selected Robert Woods, receiver, Los Angeles Rams.
Now, Drew, I like that pick. I think you really did something, with limited options. I think you've gotten a guy that can potentially be a low-end wide receiver one. I think the Rams are in for a bounce back, and I like what you did there. So I think you're off to a really nice start.
Well,
you're up early on Sunday at 1.
And that's kind of you to say. I'll go ahead and text out what the sticky note said in the group text so you guys can see it. Well, did it, Bill, or was that just me saying that? So I knew where I was going, and I was really between two options the entire time. It was going to be Keenan Allen or Robert Woods. And ultimately, the decision fell. I trusted my sheet. I've looked at multiple big boards. These guys are kind of back to back, but I didn't want to have two players from the Chargers. I did that last year. Had two players on the Cowboys. I wanted to diversify my offenses a little bit. So that's really where the decision was made. But it was going to be running back, receiver, no matter what. That's what the sticky note said.
Yeah, hey, I like that strategy, and I like that you stuck to it. I do see here that Caldwell still looks like he may be watching. After telling us good night. So that's good. We've got most of the league in, it sounds like. But yeah, I think you're off to a good start. And I think I don't know. I kind of, it's hard. 3 picks, like you said, you can't win it on day one. You can lose it on day one. I think we've settled on the fact that Chris has lost it on day one. Le'Veon, he's relying on Le'Veon Bell, who I would be surprised if he gets more than 100 touches this year. They brought in Frank Gore there. Ooh, who Caldwell loves. I may have to steal Frank Gore as the handcuff and hang him over Chris's head later with Randall Cobb.
He's getting 12 carries a game. Frank Gore is demanding 12 carries.
How long will T.O. be on the clock on Sunday, even though he has 5 days to think about it? That's a great question, Bill. I'm interested to see. I'm interested to see how this online draft plays out. because we've never done one before. Like
Yeah.
we've never done the, it's a little bit sad. I love the draft every year. It's kind of tough to have to do it that way, but this has been a fun way to do it, and I think as schedules get more hectic, this is a good fallback. When we need to.
Yeah, definitely. This has been fun. This has been a fun show to produce, and I know I said it after the draft lottery, I guess you would call it. I think this is a format that we can exploit throughout the year and do maybe a Thursday night discussion during the first quarter, or maybe a big matchup on a Monday night, or even a Sunday preview show.
Okay, we need to plug CFF Tape Delay's Instagram story. I have not been able to watch it because I've been locked in on this, but Bill says it's incredible, pick by pick analysis, so I can't wait to go watch that later.
Hey, DeRuiter, you might want to try again, bud.
DeRuiter just tried to pick James Conner, who Bill picked, I think, in the first round.
Doesn't this tend to happen like round 6 or 7?
Yeah. I know I blurted out Alshon Jeffrey, who had been picked like literally 45 picks ago, and I wasn't happy about it even then. So, but that's what happened to Alshon Jeffrey. But anyway,
Lyle brings up a great point. This is actually the first ever live CFF Live.
Did he? That was just the douchiest way to abbreviate Java with Jackson.
Yeah.
JWJS was the first to really go live. Now,
that's true.
Yeah. I wonder if you could set up, Bill, maybe an internship for Lyle for have a guy kind of shadow you for help with production value and stuff, because he was good at that. Bill said he would not meet the qualifications. So I thought Lyle was good at it. Bill, not so much. And we could use a second producer sometimes to fill in. Sometimes Bill's producing from a flight or an airplane. And the pick is coming to Sperani.
Well, he's finally off the board. We thought Chris had him a few picks ago, but in fact, DeRuiter gets him. Running back, Denver, Melvin Gordon.
Melvin Gordon off the board. It always kind of short circuits me when I know he has a pass catcher in Kittle, but DeRuiter does not have a wide receiver on his team. Obviously, Bill's team short circuits me the most with 3 running backs, but it's just a little bit weird to see those colors under Matt's name on the Google Doc. So I'm really just mainly excited to watch the CFF Tape Delayed story once we get off the air.
I really am too.
Okay, is Tio's RB1 going to be Mostert or Ingram?
Who's available? Are the top 2 available? Oh,
yeah.
Yikes.
So I'll go ahead and read them out since Bill read them out silently. Mark Ingram, Raheem Mostert, Cam Akers, DeAndre Swift, David Montgomery, and Kareem Hunt. So now we're starting to get into backup territory.
So real quick, I did go to SCO's Instagram, CFF Tape Delayed's Instagram. I love the the pictures he chooses to use to accompany his articles, and just when he sends those out before the night before, so you can kind of get a little preview of what's to come. I can't wait for CFF Tape Delay to crank back up.
Great point. Bill asks, do we think any trades for future picks will take place between now and Sunday at 1 o'clock?
I think somebody will be a total jackass and get bored this week. And
now, to be the journalist I am, I do know of someone that had an extremely high pick that was shopping his first round pick earlier this week.
Well, that's the journalism that people come for and stay for.
This particular individual wanted. Now, this is what I've gathered. They wanted Austin Eckler, and they wanted Kenyon Drake. So they were looking to get way back into the first round and pick those exact same two guys. I gotta say that makes me feel pretty good about my selection.
Can I take a gander of who that was, or?
You're first off, Drew, you're plugged in. Second off, Bill just informed us we're losing viewers fast. We're at 9. So
how am I? What am I plugged in on?
Just your sources.
I thought you were talking about my mic or my headphones. So I'm plugged in on both of those.
Oh. Yeah.
Well, I'm interested to see if this sound quality carries through to the YouTube stream, or I did notice it when you uploaded it to Spotify that the sound quality was better on my end.
Yours sounded great because I didn't have my mic in yet, but my mic is now here, and you guys are going to be in for a treat this year with the podcast. So, T.O. being the last pick is appropriate because you're so close, but you just have to.
You're just army crawling at this point,
This is totally fine. Totally fine. Draw it out. I'm glad to talk to you guys. But we don't have it. He's usually pretty quick on the first pick and super long on the second. So at least I know when we fire up, he's going to be locked in. Although we are going to be on ESPN and there's an actual clock, otherwise you get auto picked.
Yeah.
So that's going to be a weird caveat because we've never, like Hoke said earlier, we've never had a live draft, so there's never an option to get auto drafted actually.
Bill is not. I mean, Caldwell's not going to have time to call Bill on each pick. He's just going to have to make a move.
Here, let's workshop this. What do we think that clock needs to be? 2 minutes? 3 minutes?
5 minutes?
5's a long time. There's going to be people who take a lot of that time.
The pick is in. Pick is in.
Stand by.
Johnny in a minute here, he says.
Still scrolling. He's scrolling.
The draft is just about done.
All right. Well, this is a wild way to end this draft, I think. T.O. Everyone's kind of like having this couple of the same positions on their team. T.O. just went, I'm going to take the best person that's available at each of these positions. We have a first quarterback off the board. He is a Mahomie. It's Patrick Mahomes, QB in Kansas City.
The Kelsey Mahomes double dip.
Now, listen, sources are revealing to me that T.O. has announced some sort of strategy.
Yeah.
So T.O. walked in to this final pick with a plethora of confidence, knowing there's some running backs I like on this board, but there's only one quarterback I want tonight. I'm taking him, and I'm taking my time to figure out what I want to do at my RB2.
I've got 5 days to research.
Love it.
RB1.
RB1, excuse me. So I respect it, and that is the cliffhanger that I think we all need. Come in with a sexy pick. It's kind of like in the NFL draft, swooping in, we're trading up, we're getting Lamar Jackson at 32, and I kind of think that's what T.O. just did tonight.
Wow. That's the only way that this draft could have ended. So I think I think with the rate that we're losing viewers at, I think, people have enjoyed what we did, but I think it's time to wrap things up. And the way we're going to wrap this up is, guys, give me your winner, give me your loser from night 1. Serrani, we'll start with you.
All right. I think I don't want to say it. I was going to say Stone, but, I'm going to go with Boone. I think the winner's Boone. He locked up 2 good RBs, and Robert Woods is the leader in the Rams offense, as far as I know. And the loser, I'm going to go with Chad. I mean, I think he's got C-Mac, but that David Johnston reach was ugly. So those are my win. That's my winner. Boone's my winner. Chad's my loser.
Drew? Do you want to take us next, or do you want me to?
Sure. No, I'll go ahead. My winner. This is odd, and I want it to be fairly spicy. Bill Johnston's my winner. A wild strategy that I think is going to pay off. Bill created depth at RB1, RB2, and added a flex. Bill's going to have two guys that are starters at all times in his lineup. There is so much value, so much depth. There's a lot of talent left on the wide receiver board. Bill knew that he could be patient, but you only had one chance to get a running back. So I like it. I like what Bill did. My loser, maybe the least spicy take, it was Chris Caldwell. That guy had no clue what he was doing tonight. He never does, but tonight was no exception.
Yeah, I think that's fair. And just in the interest of just keeping this interesting, I'm not going to pick any of the same guys you guys pick. So let me. I think my winner is Busby. I just love that stable of running backs. I love Saquon and Chris Carson. I think Amari Cooper can be a number one pretty easily. I like what he did there. My loser, I just don't know. Like you guys heard earlier, I had no idea who Miles Sanders was about halfway through the first round. And like you said, I don't know that Green Bay is really in for the Aaron Jones era. And Juju, Big Ben, there's question marks. So I think Brooks needs to have a bounce back day on Sunday. So that's going to be my winner and loser.
Well, I got to say, this was fun. I enjoyed this format, and I'm really looking forward to the next podcast. Maybe we can get a podcast in this week. Maybe a primer for Sunday.
Yeah, I think so, and I'm excited for these microphones and the sound quality. So thanks for tuning in, everybody, and hope we gave you a product that you can work with and something we can build on in the future.
And Serrani's on the hot seat, and Tio's on the clock.